on the Eagles Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome to the EWU Athletics Flight Report, presented by Gee Automotive, The Plains Golf Course, Corwin Ford, and by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Now, here's your host, the voice of Eagle Athletics, Larry Weir.
Welcome to Flight Report, and our Eagle Football Coaches Show. It's presented by TDS Fiber, and today we're coming off the Eagles' win against UC Davis last Saturday, which has propelled them into the top 25 in college football. In the FCS ranking Stat Perform Media poll, the Eagles are 19th. In the coaches poll, Eastern number 25. This week, they will take on the number 4 or 6 team, depending on which poll you want to go with. And they are the University of Idaho Vandals, 1 o'clock on Roosevelt in Cheney. Tickets going fast. GoEags.com. Click on the tickets link. In this program, wide receiver Tre Mason will join us. We will also hear from defensive end DeMarcus Johnson. Head coach Aaron Best joins us to start things off. And you were very excited, very animated in that game. You were running around on the field like you were a 12-year-old after that game. You looked like you were very excited about that win because it was a very gritty win. Your team had to dig deep. You mentioned gritty in the post-game show. Your team had to dig deep for that win. Are those the more satisfying victories, the ones that you have to work hardest maybe for?
Yeah, I don't know if satisfying is the right word. Completed, maybe the way to go. It's been a long journey for some of these guys, not just this year. They endured a lot last year, a lot of new things that a lot of Eagles, fans included, haven't been a part of or haven't had to go through, and we were the ones going through it. And so, I looking back, there's a lot of things we look back on, and we're still far from a finished product, but knowing this, let's call it 14-month journey thus far, from the start of August last year until where we are now, it just makes it, I guess, more, I don't know if it's emotional is the right word, more touching, knowing that you're walking the hallways and going out there trying to put the best product you are out there, and a lot of opinions, good, bad, and different. That's what sports gives you. But these guys have fended off a lot of stuff, have really embraced a lot of things that came their way, unfortunately, out of their hands. They've endured a lot, and it's the first Big Sky game of the year, coming off a big win. I want to see how we'd respond. That was kind of the message going into this game. Having to go to Davis 3 straight times to play the same team, 2 in the same year, calendar year, spring of 21, fall of 21. There's a lot of backstories that kind of lead to some of those moments after a game. Really excited. I was excited for these coaches on the staff that did some time in Davis, head coach at Davis, worked for Coach Hawkins. I mean, there are so many things like we talked about last week leading up to it that you don't want the world to know because they're special to you. Those 4 walls and those guys in that 4 walls earned that victory. We left everything we had, and we knew it was going to be a tough game, and it was to the bitter end. 17-3, we knew it was still going to be tough, and it was. And we came away with a block field at the end and got a first down, took 3 knees, and got on the plane. So it was beautiful in a lot of ways and unbeautiful in a lot of ways, and that's probably what this team's going to be the rest of the way. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be we're not going to get out front by 30, 40, and that's just not how we're wired mentally or physically. So we got to be a tougher team, more disciplined team, and that's what we were on Saturday.
For the first time in 4 games this year, you won the turnover battle. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's something like 71-4 since 2010, where you have been the winners in the turnover battle. So that 3-0 in that game, and that was really the difference in the ball game.
It was, and we talked about that Friday night in the hotel. Getting together, kind of putting the last few bits and pieces together, watching film and having our little team meeting, and it was talked about a lot. We've talked about it the first 4 weeks, trying to get over that edge of 0-0 or neutral position, the turnover battle, and we were 3-0. The fortunate thing is we got 10 points out of the 3 turnovers. I'd like to, I talked to the team this morning at our team meeting. I'd love to get 21 and turn all of them into something. The hardest one you look back now and you can kind of smirk at it was, Brock's pick. You were up 3, and you get the pick on their plus side of the 50. I believe we went 3 and out at that point. Lost some yardage and didn't have a chance to maybe go for it. And then we punt the ball with Nick Kokich, who's an all-league punter, into the end zone. So we lose 20 yards going in. And, it just kind of felt like, we're going to find a way. But, gosh darn it, making it hard on ourselves. They drive the length of the field and holding a field goal attempt. I think it was 31, so it was kind of a chip shot at the end of the day. And we got an elbow up, and Isaiah Perez knocked it down, and Drew Carter picked it up, and the rest was history. So that plus thing is good. We are on the like the 96th percentile wins when we are on the plus side of things in the last 13 years. But boy, was that came down. That was not just +1. That wasn't +2. That was +3. But we didn't do anything with that last one. So that was a hard one. But at the end of the day, just so darn proud of those guys, those coaches, because there's a lot of hours that go into 3 hours of work on Saturdays, and so. Little did I know that Coach Hawk said, are you playing all your home games at 7 for the game? He goes, nah, after this week we go to 4 because of the heat. So I'm thinking to myself, it would have been nice to get home at midnight instead of 3 a.m. But like we talked post game with Paul, that it doesn't matter. 3 hours of sleep is 3 hours of sleep. I mean, it's a lot easier when you win. But I thought, God, could you have invited us midway during the year to play a 4 o'clock game? But it is what it is. Now we're at home and playing number 2 at home against a fabulous ball club. Stars all over the place. They're high on both ends, offense, defense, special teams. They're high caliber in all 3 phases, and we got absolutely our work cut out for us.
Larry and I are lucky. We get to look behind the curtain, and we see a lot of stuff. That last year was not fun for everybody, and this is a different year. And just what was that moment for you, AB? You flipped the switch. You saw the. I don't know. You can say anything you want, but. Just the difference in your coaching staff in terms of how things are going and yourself. And, there's a different vibe around this football team this year. What was that light switch, the flip that for you, or is it just something that you kind of self-analyzed and said, we've got to change some things and go in a different direction?
Well, it was a combination of things, but I'm gonna give 90% of the credit to the players. At the end of the day, they recognize what we recognized, but they don't change it if they don't want to. I mean, at the end of the day, you can ask them, you can tell them, you can demand it from them, you can want it for them, but at the end of the day, they got to want to do it for themselves. And those guys in the offseason right away, not even the offseason, like the day after the season, got together and said, this isn't why we came here. This isn't who we are, but this is who we were. So recognizing who we were and then trying to be different from who we were, and then let's put a plan together in place. But I'll be honest with you, it's not something that's magic. And this just in. Mid-season is as easy as it is for you guys up here or fans or anybody that's not even our own players. Why don't we just do this mid-game, or why don't we just do this mid-season? It's a lot easier said than done when you're in the momentum of a season to say this is what we need to do. Making a change personnel-wise is hard, but it's easiest hard thing to do. When you're trying to change more than just personnel during the season, that's got to wait till the off season. That's a different animal. You can start tweaking some things, but when you talk about putting your arms around everything, that's not, in my opinion, that's not a September or October thing. That happens in December and beyond. So it's easy for us to sit up here with headphones on and go, well, they need to do this, and they're not very tough, and they're not playing really hard. I mean, like I said, at the end of the year, a lot of time, like we don't go out there to lose games. We're trying to do our very darn best, and sometimes our best just isn't good enough. But sometimes we weren't as tough as we thought we were, and I think we've toughened up between the ears a lot. I think we've put our hearts and hands and heads around each other more often. I think our guys aren't worried about friendships. They're worried about relationships, on the field and off the field. We're not doing it because, it's a popularity contest. I think we're over some of that. We're still not, escaped all of it, but every team's going to have those, 10, 15% of guys you're still kind of, let's see. But we had more than 10 or 15% last year, but mid-September, I guess you can, but I don't know how good it's going to be when you got 9, you got 8, you got 7 games left. It's not just going to stop. You still got to be productive in practice and meetings and in the classroom and in the weight room. And so it wasn't overnight, but give the kids the most credit and give the coaches that were around from last year to this year the next most credit, because the year 2, okay, this is who we were. This is not what we intend to be. There's more continuity on both sides of the ball with coordinators back. Their standards are what they are. They weren't met last year in a variety of ways. We understood that, but it wasn't something we could truly attack. We could address, but truly couldn't attack until December, and we've been attacking it forever. Wins don't just all of a sudden happen. They're worked on long and in the dark and in behind a lot of behind a lot of lights and scenes. So it's special. And then when you're doing it at a place that you got your degree and played, I mean, it's just it just means a little bit more. So it's touching. Those gutsy wins are more touching when you've worn the logo and you've done it, you've been a part of it, and you've seen a lot of it. So, I know Larry's probably got a few more games than me, maybe.
Not too many. It's only been a few years. So.
I know. I just, it's just, and you remember a lot of those things where you can compare the 04 team to the 19 team to the 13 team to the 01. They're all they're their own capsule. They're their own. But it's easy to get, around a circle of people and say, hey, what about this 12 team? They weren't as tough. I mean, the fish always gets bigger, right?
Yeah.
The team always gets worse. The 2010 team is not going to – no one can hold it. Candle the 2010 team. Well, most memorable moment, I think you asked me, or memorable season wasn't 10, in my opinion. For me, selfishly, it was 11. When we went 6-5, we were 0-4 out of the gate. We ended up going 6-5, and we had 8 offensive linemen that could barely put their pads on and play, let alone play in a Big Sky game. We figured it out. That was the most special year, and probably will be forever in my career here at Eastern. And so they don't always have to equate to 1 loss or 0 loss, but that's what the fans want. The memorable seasons are the championships. That's fine, but the stories are told when they're not championship seasons. That you find the true layers of people and personalities when it's not always easy, And we've endured a lot, and I'm extremely proud of all that was here this time last year to this time now, and we've got a long way to go.
Well, I appreciate that answer because I know that wasn't easy, and yet you see the difference. And we always talk about what you do on the field. You try to win 2 of the 3. You try to offense, defense, special teams. Special teams, you did a great job with field goals, extra points. You get a block at the end of the game to win it, basically. And defense, Marlon Jones Jr., a second pick 6 in 2 weeks. Brock Harrison, his second career interception, it was huge at that time. Fumble recoveries, you get 3 turnovers to none. And that's the difference in that ball game, from that standpoint. Eastern is always going to be good on the offensive side, but it was really those 2 phases, in my opinion, that were the difference makers. Would you agree with that?
I would. When you go 17-3 and 7 of those points are defensive points. You don't count on defensive points or special teams points. So those are added bonuses. And then you really needed that added bonus at the end. You need all points, but that's what you needed when the score worked out the way it was. And 2 games in a row, I don't know. Dave Cook's probably still in town. Has anybody ever done that in back-to-back games? As far as 1 home, 1 away. I don't know if anybody's ever had it. We talk about first every week after the games. We about first touchdown, first sack, first block kick, kind of first. And Dave kind of started that, I think, with Coach Baldwin years and years ago. So then we kind of tell the team in the team meeting who had their first sack. And those first are, well, now all of a sudden this year we just had a second with Marlon Jones. It's the first second we've ever done. We had a first return for a touchdown last week. We got to acknowledge, because those things are hard to come by. Yeah. He's leading our receivers in touchdowns. And him and Afton, I think, are neck and neck. And Marlon's only got 2 touches and 2 touchdowns, so his efficiency is out of this world. But it was a little bit. I told the staff at halftime we got up there, and we knew it was going to be tough. This league is extremely tough, especially on the road against a great team that's a ball control team that can run the ball, that doesn't want to throw the ball unless they have to, or you force them to. I told them, 2 things: one on offense, one on defense. We got to find a running game to develop a more consistent passing game or RPO game, and we got to limit the explosive plays on defense, because it was 17-3, and I believe it was second and very long when Larison went for the 78-yarder. They were running the ball hopefully to get themselves a third manageable. Before you know it, the rest got his arms in the air. It's 17-10, and I think it was second and 14. The Downey went 78 on. Hell of a player. Anybody that goes for 2 on the ground, I don't care what level it is, and multiple touchdowns, hell of a player. It's unfortunate he got banged up late in the game. But, that's a different ball game. It's 3rd and 10. You're throwing the ball. We may get the ball back on a stop, 17-3 with the ball. I like anybody's chances. And that was kind of the deal. Find a run game at 17-17. It's really, truly 0-0 at half, and everybody says it. I don't believe in that. Whatever the score is at half, that's the score. No matter what the score is, it's not 0-0 unless it is 0-0. We get the ball. That's the only advantage we have right now. They're at home, we get the ball. So it's kind of a wash. Let's see what we do with it. And we scored enough in the second half. You wouldn't have probably told me, 10-7 in the second half was going to win that ball game. But 2 straight weeks, I think we've outscored our opponents in the fourth quarter, which is big.
All right, so University of Idaho this week. This is a team, as I see it, just on paper and through the little bit that I've been able to see of them, this is a team that doesn't have, just from the eyeball look, a weakness that is easily exploited? Good on offense, good enough on defense, good on special teams.
I might add very to all three of those too. I mean, outside of a up 17-0, in the Bay Area to Cal, I mean, they haven't done much wrong this season. They've done what they've wanted to do in all three phases. They've got, like we talked about earlier, stars in all three areas. Kicked the game winner last week against Sac State, brought Sac State in, who was top 5 team in the nation, reigning Big Sky champions, and I don't know that there is a weakness. They don't play up tempo. They try to get you to play at their tempo. It's production on first down, but you've got to maximize your opportunities. I mean, at the end of the day, because they're going to limit possessions for the offense, whoever they play, in this case us this week, and they're going to try to maximize their possessions because they're a slow to all huddle team. They're not a no huddle team, and they run the ball extremely effective. They've got a running back that can go to the end zone at any point. They've got 2 receivers that can go to the end zone at any point. They got a quarterback to get it there through the air or on the ground at any point. I don't, and they got a bunch of fresh new faces on defense, and they're better than they were last year on defense this year with a ton of new faces. So they got guys at all 3 levels. They're playing at a high level, 3-1, ranked probably lower than they should be. They got an FBS win and up 17-0 against a P5 team. I mean, I'm not here to. I mean, you're the reporter. You're the sportscaster. You tell me where there's a weak. I mean, I probably spent too much time finding nothing. I mean, they're a really fabulous ball club.
You've forgotten more about football, though, than I know, so that's where we go.
Yeah. That was for all the listeners, right?
Hey, I'd admit that anywhere, anytime to anyone.
I would
so.
Great, well coached, physical, tough, and guys all over the place ready to make plays. Again, we got to get on the plus side of things. No matter how this game goes, we got to get on the plus side of things. And the separator thing is the third tier, special teams. There's 30 to 35 snaps of special teams a game, and out of 200 snaps, it's not a third. It plays out more than a third when it's really a one-play sequence. That's probably the way a lot of Big Sky games are going to be this year. Is what happens in the special teams arena, and so a wash isn't going to win. You got to find a way to win that third phase.
Hayden Hatton is one of the best receivers in the country, and you can look at him and compare to a guy that came out of Eastern Washington, in terms of what he's doing with the Los Angeles Rams and Cooper Kupp. He's not Cooper Kuppage in terms of size, but he just seems to catch everything. He's one of those guys that you think you have him covered, and yet he makes the catch. And then they have 2 other receivers, so one coming off an injury that's, explosive. They can really present problems, so it's hard for a defense to come in and take away all 3 of those guys, let alone a running game, and a quarterback that was the freshman of the year. So they're loaded. Coach Eck has done a nice job with his football team. This could present some serious problems. So turnovers, I think, are going to be a key. Tell us about your offense, or what the offense is that you're going to have to try to deal with.
Well, you pick your poison, right? You load the box, stop the run. All of a sudden, they get one-on-one matchups, and you pick who you want to double, or if you double, or who you man, or you keep everything in front of you, and all of a sudden they're bound to break a tackle, and all of a sudden find their way to the end zone that way. I mean, they're just you got to bank on getting Giovanni off his spot a little bit, make him uncomfortable at times. Try to get him behind the sticks on first down, especially a run-first team. I mean, they're only averaging 20, just over 21, 22 passes a game, and they've been it up in so many games they haven't necessarily needed to. They present a lot of issues, so we got to be balanced. We got to disguise our coverages, hoping that we can disguise them enough to get them to take a shot at some and maybe get lucky, but their run game is no joke. I mean, it's a real deal. Mr. Woods is a phenomenal back, and again, he went 95-plus yards against Lamar early in that first game. And I mean, so from anywhere, we got to be on each play, and every play we got to be on. I mean, every play is a one-play sequence, and you don't know what play could change the outcome of a game. And so they're loaded on offense. We saw a lot of those same faces last year, and they're older. So it's probably more dangerous now that they're another year in that system.
let's talk defensively. They've done a nice job with the transfer portal to replace guys that they got from the transfer portal. I mean, it's a solid.
Where else would you get guys from the transfer portal?
Yeah, then the transfer portal. Yeah, there you go. So we got that. They got that going. So do you. But defensively, they could be a team that I think you could attack, but it's going to have to be a balanced attack. And Eastern really hasn't had that game yet in terms of running backs exploding. Is this a game we're going to have to run the ball effectively to win it?
Well, you do. I think every game you got to be that way. I think in 2 games we've found our running game, but it's been after halftime. We've got to find creative ways or more consistent ways to have more explosive plays in the run game, whether it's motion, whether it's receivers, whether it's quarterbacks, whether it's backs. We got to find ways, and it's not those. It's guys that starts with those guys up front, but we've got to condition ourselves to be dynamic enough on offense to make them honor the ball. If we're going to be a 4 in a cloud of dust or 3 in a cloud of dust, well, then they'll just sit back and play everything else out in front, and then we can't take advantage of one-on-ones or our receivers. So trying to get that run game on track early. They don't pressure a ton. They let everything fall in front of them. They rally to the football. They get off blocks. They're physical when they do tackle. They're ball hawks. They pick the ball in the air. Again, I don't know that they have a ton of weaknesses on the defensive side of the ball either. But getting that run game early, but trying to find a few explosives in the run game. 5 is not going to scare anybody, but 8's really not going to scare anybody. 15, and maybe. You start putting, 22 or 3, 20-plus runs in a game, that's different. But when you don't put it on tape, they're not fearful of it. So trying to find that in the first half. And throughout the course of a game. But, Fresno and UC Davis was kind of similar. We just kind of didn't really get much going in the run game in that first half of either. And then we kind of got it going, especially when we needed it to on 3rd and 4th downs and get a new set of sticks. So it's gonna be hang on to the football, stay aggressive, Coach Chapin, take shots when they present themselves, and we're gonna have to find we're gonna have to make some plays when it's not ideal situations. That's just against good football teams. You have to do that, and this is a good one coming into town.
Congratulations on a great win over UC Davis. Good luck on Saturday against the University of Idaho. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Larry.
That is Eagle head coach Aaron Best. When we come back, you will hear from our players. We'll have DeMarcus Johnson. We'll have Tre Mason coming up here on the Flight Report, the Eagle Football Coaches Show, presented by TDS Fiber on the Eagle Sports Network from Learfield.
George Gee Buick GMC is proud to support Eastern Eagles football. We're your locally owned dealer with excellent customer service and a friendly staff. Right now, get great offers on the all-new GMC Sierra, featuring a 2.7-liter turbo high-output engine delivering 310 horsepower. See our inventory of Sierras just off I-90 at George Gee Buick GMC, the top volume Buick GMC dealer in Washington State. Visit GeeBuickGMC.com.
Come visit The Plains, a 9-hole golf course and practice facility with 2 full-length practice holes, a 60-yard wedge area, putting green, and driving range. We are also now home to the new Plains Public House, a great place to catch the game and grab a drink. Located at 9810 West Millville Road, Cheney, Washington, just 10 minutes from downtown Spokane. To find out more information, go to theplains509.com. That's theplains509.com.
3rd down and 6. Davis at their own 30. Back to throw it is Hastings to the right sidelines. Intercepted. Marlon Jones Jr. down the left sidelines. 20, 15, to the 10, to the 5 as he avoids Hastings. Takes it back. 2nd week in a row. Pick 6. Touchdown. Touchdown. Eastern Washington. Marlon Jones Jr. Career interception number 8. Welcome back. Flight Report, Eagle Football Coaches Show in the polls this week. Eastern Washington back in the polls for the first time this year. Here's what's going on with the Big Sky. In the Stats Perform Media Poll, Montana State 3, Idaho 4, Sac State 8, Weber State 13, Montana 18, Eastern is 19, UC Davis is 21. In the Coaches Poll, Montana 3, Idaho 6, Sac State 9, Weber 14, Montana 16, Davis 20, and Eastern 25 in that poll. We have defensive end DeMarcus Johnson here with us from the Sacramento area. Went back into your homeland, helped the Eagles to a big win over Davis on Saturday. 5 tackles, 2 for loss, an inch or so away from a sack. The quarterback got away from you, but here's what I like about you, what we have seen through the first 4 weeks of you playing football as an Eagle. You're the guy that ended up running him out of bounds. I think you went down on the play, or either that or you had to turn around and chase back after him, but you're the guy that ended up running him out of bounds. So effort, 100% from you all day, every day. Where did you learn that, or is that something that you just decided this year, look, this is my last year of college football, I'm just going to play with my hair on fire?
That's just something I was really brought up on. My folks, my parents, they're really big on working hard. Like, nothing in this world is free. And plus, if I'm going to do it, I got to give it everything I got. And that's one thing they always held me accountable for with school, sports, just everything in life. Just if you're here, you're here. You might as well make the best of it. Give it everything you got. Plus, I got my teammates, they're relying on me. I'm relying on them. I can't short sell them because they give their all for me. I got to give my all for them also.
You've had 2 trips into California, a very close loss at your former school, Fresno State, and a win against UC Davis. I'm sure friends and family were there for both games.
Definitely.
Was it satisfying for you? I mean, I'm sure you like to have the win at Fresno, but were you satisfied with your performance in both those games?
Well, Fresno game, I feel like we played good as a team. The personal performance don't really matter too much because at the end of the day, we want to win games. We want to win championships. But I just felt really good on how we played as a team. Like, even if I have a good or bad game, overall, like, as long as we continue to play together, I feel like we'll be really good. And whenever we can, and, like, you can see it from outside looking in also, even more than from the inside. Like, we stay together. We could be down, up, and at the end of the day, we're going to come together. And I know at the end of the day, hardest battles, I know that me and my team will all be ready to fight.
You know, DeMarcus, being a Sacramento guy, I was an East Bay guy, and when did you start playing football? What age?
I started playing when I was 6 years old.
So that culture in terms of growing up with your friends and doing different sports at a young age, and really the competition's pretty darn good. Has that kind of been something, you know, did you always think, I want to play college football, I want to play professional? What were your goals kind of growing up along those lines in terms of the game?
Well, that's always a dream to get to the furthest level you possibly can. But I definitely, I can't say that I knew I would be like a D1 athlete or I would take it this far. But, I mean, I knew I had the ability to do it. It was just a matter of making it happen.
You know, I think it's interesting, too, your time at Fresno State, you know, you saw a lot of good quality players. You come here, there's a lot of good quality players. There's not a real big difference, especially, you know, with your starters. I mean, it's amazing to see how close, you know, these leagues and the different levels have become. Is that something you noticed?
Yeah, definitely. That's something I noticed even before I got here. A lot of people, they see the FBS, FCS, and they just think it's a big drop-off when in reality it's not that big of a difference. They suit up like we suit up. They're human just like we're human. So whoever puts in more work and knows what they're doing, that's who's going to come out on top. Whether you're Power 5, Group of 5, FCS, I believe that the better man's going to win. The better man's going to win regardless.
You've come in, it's almost been seamless. It seems like you've been here for 5 years. And, you know, your leadership, I think, has been a big thing. And you look at all the transfers on defense. This defense this year, your front 7 and your back 4, I think, are really playing well and starting to mesh. Initially, there were some missed tackles, but you guys are starting to clean that up. You know, is this a defense that can continue to get better? I mean, you're going to have your hands full on Saturday, you know, with Idaho. But is this a defense you can see the improvement on each and every week?
Oh, most definitely. We're just scratching the surface. Like, of course, early, we're going to have a couple little things we got to fix with us being not necessarily a new team, but we got a lot of transfers. And even coming in, the players that were already here, they treated us like we've been here all 4 years anyway. So it wasn't that big of a transition, but just us playing together, the more we play together, the better we'll play together. So I feel like every week we get better and better, and, yeah, we're just scratching the surface.
You got to tell us a story behind the grill.
So, I mean, you're from Bay Area, so, you know, the gold, that's a big thing over there with the gold grill, chains. I've never really been a chain guy myself, but
I can't pull it off. I mean, it's a good look for you. I can't do that. That's impressive.
So my oldest brother, PJ, he started it. So he got one. He started playing with it. So, of course, when you see your older brother with something, you want it. So it just trickled down from PJ to DJ to me. We all got the gold grills. We all play with them. It's like a little confidence factor, bring it out of us.
DeMarcus, everything was new when you came in here. New coaches, new teammates, new school, new everything, new opponents to play. How long did it take you to really kind of get into the culture here at Eastern?
I wouldn't say it took too long. The most just geographically getting used to being in Cheney, Washington compared to Sacramento and Fresno, California. But as far as here, like, my teammates, they, like I said, they made it seem like I've been here this whole time, so it wasn't too much of a transition. It wasn't too hard getting adjusted to here. It was like I've been here this whole time.
Can you compare and contrast the off-season training between what you guys did this year, which Coach Aaron Best has said was above and beyond what a lot of the teams have been in his years at Eastern, to what you might do at Fresno State.
I'm not big on comparison, but I feel like we put in just as much, if not more work. Like I came here, they already had the standard. The standard was there. It was set. I came out here, they were running hard. They're competing. We're competing. So I just feel like it wasn't too big of a difference as far as like the work, but I don't like to compare, like I said. But
we are looking.
I feel like we got good stuff going on over here.
We are looking down in the red field. Had you seen the red field before you came to Eastern?
No, so when I was a kid, when I was younger, this was my favorite field because my favorite color has always been red, and this is the only place with a red field. So it was like, it's almost surreal being here and playing on it now. Like seeing it every day, like it's somewhat of a normality now, but it's still like I come out here and every day it's just like, wow, I'm on the red. I get to play on the red. Like I have the privilege to do that. So it was really cool to me.
When you know, as a kid, you see the red field, et cetera, but coming here to Eastern, what made you choose Eastern instead of maybe something else or somewhere else?
Really, it was my visit coming out and actually meeting the coaches in person and meeting the players. And one of my core values, like one of my main core values is family. So going to a place where I wouldn't feel like, because I knew I was going away from home. It's my first time being away from home. That's actually like a distance. So just seeing how they interact with each other, how they like treated me on my visit, I just knew that when I came here, it would be like another family environment, and I knew I would be comfortable coming here.
All right. So
on top of the rich heritage that Eastern has.
Absolutely. So at Fresno, you probably had to play at Wyoming at some point in time, or at the Air Force Academy or whatever. When the calendar started changing to October, the weather is starting to change a little bit here. Are you looking forward to some of these games in October and November, whether it's here or in Bozeman or wherever it might happen to be?
Definitely looking forward to the challenge. It's definitely new being in the cold, being from California, but I mean, I feel like it'd be really cool to play in the snow. I don't see too much snow, so that should be fun.
All right. What are you doing school-wise? Did you get your degree at Fresno? Are you still working on that here? Are you working on a master's here? What are you doing school-wise?
So I did get my degree in Fresno in finance. And then so now I'm here taking a couple African studies classes. So because I don't have a lot of time on my clock, so starting my master's would have been tough. So I just took a couple classes that I felt would be interesting and learn a little bit more. You're never too old. It's never too late to learn something.
So what do you want to do with life after football, whenever that is, with that finance degree and whatever else may come after it?
So initially I wanted to go into financial advising, but also I could go into analytics. So it depends on what opportunities present themselves. But I've always liked math and money go hand in hand, so it was only right for me to be a finance major.
DeMarcus, thanks for coming up. Great to meet you. Good luck on Saturday against Idaho and for the rest of your season.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
That's DeMarcus Johnson. When we come back, we will hear from Tre Mason on the Eagle Flight Report Football Coaches Show presented by TDS Fiber on the Eagle Sports Network from Learfield.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
So 2nd and 7 now for the Eagles at the Aggie 38 from the left hash. Vesperis fakes the handoff, rolls out to the right side, throws it deep down the right side, and a comeback catch on the sidelines is made. A great catch by Tre Mason. Robert Mason III, they call him Tre, down at the 6, gain of 32, first down. Welcome back, TDS Fiber, Eagle Flight Report, the Eagle Football Coaches Show. Eagles against Idaho, Saturday, noon for our airtime on the radio, 1 o'clock for the kickoff. Should be a great game with a big crowd. Robert Mason III, Tre Mason here joining us. And so, obviously, Tre Mason. I'm sure 3 is the number you wanted, but 9's the number you got. So what is it, 3 times 3? So you have a double 3 in a way?
Yep, you got it right. It's funny, my teammate Jacoby James, he calls me 3 square, so, equals 9. But yeah, number 3 has always been my favorite number growing up. Crazy enough, my birthday's on the 3rd month, on March, and then March 12th, 1 + 2 = 3 as well. So 3's just kind of always been my favorite number, and something that my dad gave to me at 8 years old when I played my first tackle football season. So yeah, man, always kind of stuck with it. But this place is it has a great set of people who wore 3, and I wore 9 after Andrew Boston. So 3's kind of tied into that as well.
All right, so you're a guy that kind of had to wait your turn a little bit here. You started out at Central Washington, then you ended up here at Eastern. What led you to Eastern, and how rewarding has the journey been for you, being as how you had to work your way up into where you're now a regular a member of that receiving corps and a guy that's a key man on this team?
Yeah, so obviously started my career at Central Washington, and had great playing days there. My head coach was Ian Shoemaker, and so he came here, was the OC in 2019. My buddy Andrew Boston, he had always played here since his freshman year. Pat McCann was the wide receiver coach. He recruited me out of high school a little bit, so there was a whole bunch of connections there. And so I took that leap of faith, and I hit the portal when there wasn't a lot of guys in there back in 2019 before COVID. So honestly, I didn't know what to expect, and Eastern gave me a great opportunity, and so I came in. I just worked my tail off, and surrounded myself around guys who worked really hard, guys like Nolan Nolm, Jacoby James and stuff. And, me and Nolan, man, like we started grinding the moment I really got on campus, and so did he. So coming up on almost like 3 years of just straight hard work with him has led us both to, kind of flourish into the system that we're in now. And, having the opportunity to learn from the older guys and learn from the guys who played here before us, Cooper Kupp, Brandon Kaufman, even going back to Nick Edwards, Greg Hurd, and all those set of guys as well. So just, watching all the film from all of those years and has just truly, I wouldn't say it's what's made me where I am today, but it obviously has helped me as well, because this place is a special place. So, when you're playing for people who have done it here before you, it kind of just feels a lot better. So, yeah.
Trey, great job on Saturday. 4 catches, 63 yards, and I thought you really brought the juice, especially in the second half. So it looked like you guys were grinding a little bit, in the first half. And I give Davis a lot of credit. I thought their defense played pretty darn well. They took a lot of the things that you like to do away from you, so you have to do things maybe that are not quite as comfortable. But once you got rolling, how did that feel? Did you feel like you guys were going to be able to control that football game?
Yeah, so I feel like our offense, man, with Coach Chapin and obviously having Zero Kakoa at quarterback, we never feel like we're not able to do the things that we want to do. Sometimes, like you said, like we aren't able to do some of the things we probably planned on doing coming into the game. But I would say after halftime, Coach Chape, he brought us together and told us, hey, we're going to go back to our bread and butter. We're probably going to stick away from some of the things that we kind of prepared for. And, coming out, man, like we were all juiced up. All the coaches, too, were super fired up. And, I just feel like that's kind of been the story of this season is just not being complacent for where we're at, and just coming in hungry, man, each and every quarter, each and every snap. And so once we got that groove going, though, like no question, it felt like we're just gonna keep going. But obviously, man, like that defense, like we got to give credit there too, because they give us a ton of confidence. And we've done a really good job this year of just complimenting each other and being there for one another. We got offensive guys standing up when the defense is out there, and we got the same for the defense standing up for us. So it's super awesome.
It's got to make you feel good on offense when your defense gets 2 turnovers, sets up a field goal. I know you guys wanted to punch that in for a touchdown. They had a pretty good stand there, but you get 3 out of it, and then of course another pick six, 2 weeks in a row, Mr. Touchdown, for goodness sakes. Mm-hmm. But that's got to make you feel good knowing that you're getting help not only in the special team side, but also on defense. You don't always have to outscore everybody. You got to just play well enough, and you guys did that to win the game.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I feel like that defense has really just set the tone this year for us. And like I said, it's given our offense so much confidence, man. And seeing Marlon, like you said, like just coming up huge. And to us, it's not a big surprise, because us receivers and just the offense, like we go against this defense each and every day. So it's super awesome seeing on game day, seeing our defense ball out, and them even seeing us have success, because imagine, like, we go against each other more times out of the year than anyone else. And, Coach Best talks about it, but, we only have 11 games out of 365 days of the year to really take our skills and, put it towards another team. So man, like, it's awesome. And that's why everything starts in practice. And, we make sure that practice is, treated as games, and that things are harder in practice so it can be easier on game day. And dudes like Marlon Jones, Brock Harrison, and, there's a lot more guys on defense who are balling out. Cantrell, man, it's no surprise to us, but yeah, it's super awesome seeing that.
Coaches always talk about one game at a time, but when you looked at the beginning of the season, you had North Dakota State number 2. You had, basically you were looking at Fresno State, who's now 25th in the country at the FBS level. They're undefeated. That Southeast Louisiana, even though they lost a couple, they're both against FBS schools. They were ranked 19th. Then you play another team in Davis that's ranked 15th, and you got Idaho coming up. I mean, it's like a rank fest. But you've played well enough in that, in my opinion, to be 3-1 right now. Just didn't get that one W, down against the Bulldogs there late. But that's got to give you some confidence going into Saturday, knowing you've got a heck of a football team that you're going to be playing.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, to your point, man, we've been really great this year on just taking each and every game at a time, and we're not getting too caught up in who we're playing next and all these things. And it's crazy. Even after the UC Davis game, me and Nolan, like, we kind of looked at each other. We're like, hey, like, it's already time for Idaho. Like, we're gonna enjoy this win a little bit, but like right then and there, we knew that we're gonna be going against a great team. And then yeah, man, like, just this schedule this year is, in my opinion, just awesome. And me even being a senior, it's great to end on this note, just having such a tough schedule. And it's just awesome seeing the Big Sky Conference doing great things. And when you see how many teams are in that top 25 that are in the Big Sky, it's super awesome, man. Yeah, 7 of them. So it's like, yeah, it's awesome, and it's so dope playing against teams every single week, not feeling like complacent in that, like, this is going to be a rollover. Like, every week is going to be a dogfight, and that's how we're approaching it.
All right, so Tre Mason earlier this season was in our position as interviewer. You can see this video on the Eagle website, goeags.com. You can look it up on YouTube, which is what I did today. I couldn't find it on the Go Eags website, so I found it on YouTube. Nolan Olm, Tre Mason. Tre was the interviewer. Nolan was the interviewee. Today, should have had Olm here.
Yeah.
But you're here, and so I'm questioning you here today. So here you go.
All right.
Favorite animal?
Favorite tiger.
What is the hardest word for you to pronounce?
Definitely. It sounds crazy.
Who do you text the most?
Jamie.
Who is your hero?
My dad.
Where did you go on your last vacation?
Last vacation? Arizona.
What is your go-to hobby other than football?
I love buying sneakers.
That's a hobby?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, besides coaching.
All right, fair enough. Describe your style.
Style, man, just laid back, chill.
All right, what is your favorite dessert?
Cheesecake.
What is your favorite breakfast?
Man, I love me some eggs, hash brown, and bacon, just, mixed up with a little bit of grits on top.
Going to keep with the food. What's your favorite sandwich?
Favorite sandwich? Have to go with some turkey ham, salami, and pepperoni. I love me just a bunch of meat.
Olm doesn't eat sandwiches, so he didn't answer the question.
He only eats oatmeal.
What is your favorite weather, or maybe your favorite season?
Man, I got to go with summer, just because during summertime, it's so awesome. You see a whole bunch of people smiling. I feel like a little bit more when that sun's out. So, yeah, enjoying the sun while we can, even right now.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
At least 6 a.m., not too later than that.
And what time do you go to bed at night?
10. 10's usually the cutoff.
Very good. You did very well.
Yeah, appreciate it. And then I gotta go back to the animal because I kind of rushed it a little bit. I would say eagle just because former GK, Graham Kapowson alum. I played for the Graham Eagles growing up as well, so I gotta switch it to eagle.
We'll let you do that.
Yeah.
We'll let you do that. So now, school-wise, what are you doing? Are you done with a bachelor's degree? Are you working on a master's? What is it in, and what do you want to do with life once football ends for you?
Yeah, so I graduated. I got my communication major, minor in business, and yeah, I have those two things, but I'm super passionate into this game. I'm gonna do my absolute best to go pro. As you know, even coming from D2 to D1, just completing that, it's not by no means over, but I feel like I ultimately can do some things, playing wise. And then after I'm done, I want to get into coaching. Coaching is something I'm super passionate about. This offseason, I had the pleasure to coach at Provision, which is with Greg Peach and them. Coached with them. I did some private sessions with some kids. I coached at Nolan's camp, the Make It Happen camp. I had my own football camps as well this summer, over on the west side, Elevate Your Craft football camp. And, I just being able to coach other kids is just super passionate to me, because that's what I had growing up. Dudes like Brandon Gibson, Mike Bush, and, having those type of role models on and off the field, super awesome. So I could definitely see myself coaching once I'm done playing.
Trey, thanks for the time. Good luck Saturday against Idaho and the rest of the year.
Thank you so much.
Great job, Trey.
Robert Mason III, Tre Mason, here joining us on the Coaches Show, and we'll back to wrap it up here on the Flight Report, presented by TDS Fiber after this timeout on the Eagle Sports Network from Learfield.
When you work around here, your day can go all over the map. You need a truck that takes on any task and keeps working hard no matter what crops up. Smart and tough trucks from Corwin Ford make your work easier, whether it's finding your destination or getting to work once you're there. So load up, head out, and no matter where you tow, you'll be on track to get the job done. Corwin Ford, family driven for over 100 years.
31-yard kick from the right hash. He's a right-footed kicker. Angle back to the left. Should be a very easy kick for him. Here's the snap back. Ball spotted. The kick is blocked. The Eagles block it. It's rolling free at the 20-yard line, and the Eagles will dive on it.
That's huge.
A huge play, a blocked field goal by Eastern Washington. The Eagles have 3:20 remaining in this game. Welcome back. Final segment of this week's Flight Report. And if you're in the Spokane, Eastern Washington, North Idaho area on Friday night at Felts Field, the Eagle Football Network, primarily a group of former players, but you don't have to be a former player to be part of this. You can anybody can join the group. They are having a fundraiser. It's their yearly fundraiser. It's at Felts Field in Spokane Valley, and more information is available, eaglefootballnetwork.org. You can also find out more at goeags.com. This bunch has done fantastic work for Eagle football in the past. Last year, they restored and painted all the existing lockers, added new storage above the lockers, new signage and branding, basically a $100,000 plus gift there. In the past, they have purchased shoulder pads, helmets, face masks for the football team, provided funding during COVID-19 toward testing and being able to fund some of the protocols that Eastern had to do. They've given education and scholarship funds. They have provided fans for the sidelines during the hot early part of the season, and so much more. So the Eagle Football Network, their fundraiser is this Friday, Felts Field, Spokane Valley, eaglefootballnetwork.org, goeags.com. Get more information on what they're doing and join up with them if you can. Even if you're not in the area, you can still join and be part of the Eagle Football Network, and you can do that at their website. All right, Eagles in Idaho should be a whale of a game. Big-time matchup, number 4 against number 19 in the Stats Perform media poll, and we will be on the air at noon. Kickoff is at 1. There are still limited tickets available as the time of our recording. You can go to goeags.com, click on the tickets link, and get more information on trying to get your butt into a seat at Roos Field on Saturday. Again, 1 o'clock game time looks like right now it's going to be a decent day. Not real warm, but temperatures in the low to mid-60s for a high during the day. That means it'll probably be 60s, maybe upper 50s at kickoff, and warming into the low to mid-60s as you move into the game. But the Eagles in Idaho, and it's happening on Saturday. Huge game, Roos Field in Cheney, and we hope to see you there. Now, next week here on Flight Report, the Football Coaches Show, we won't have a whole lot of football that we're talking about because it'll be the bye week for the Eagles. And so we will talk to head coach Aaron Best, but we're also going to then take a chance to visit some of the other sports. So we're going to talk to Missy Strasburg and I believe a couple of her players. She is the soccer coach at Eastern, volleyball coach John Haraguchi, one of his players, and then both the basketball coaches, David Riley and Jody Gleason, will talk to us about Eagle Madnest. Not Madness, M-A-D-N-E-S-S, but Eagle Madnest MADNEST. That's their little take on Eagle Madness. It's coming up in a couple or 3 weeks, actually, on Red Reese Court. So we'll chat about all that next week, and then we'll get back into a football-centric show in 2 weeks' time. We want to thank head coach Aaron Best. We want to thank Tre Mason, Eagle wide receiver, and transfer defensive end DeMarcus Johnson, all joining us here tonight or today, depending on when you're listening to this. We want to thank you for listening as well. And for Paul Sorensen, I'm Larry Weir. Thanks for listening to Flight Report, the Eagle Football Coaches Show, presented by TDS Fiber on the Eagle Sports Network from Learfield.
You've been listening to the EWU Athletics Flight Report, presented by Corwin Ford, the Plains Golf Course, Gee Automotive, and by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.